Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome my good friend Margarita Monet of the Edge of Paradise to the program. How you doing, Margarita?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for messaging me the other day and letting me in on all the stuff or some of the stuff that you guys have been up to. You've got an album coming out September 17th called The Unknown. You released a video and a single. This is the second video and single, right?
Yeah. The first one was Digital Paradise, and now this one's called My Method, Your Madness. And
Yeah.
the album went on pre-order. So yeah, things are getting going with this
Come
new.
Finally the big wind up, right?
Yeah.
And this is coming out on Frontiers, right?
Yeah, we kind of have this Frontiers, and we're also partnered with Judge and Jury Records, which is Howard Benson and Neil Sanderson. So we have a great team of people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the singles. First video, Digital Paradise. Definitely a true sci-fi element to that. I watched the whole sort of behind the scenes from it and everything, which was very, very cool. I think that goes to show how much work goes into creating a song and creating a video and you know shows that rock and roll isn't always quite so glamorous, the work that goes behind it. I think it's a lot more than what a lot of people think. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, definitely a lot of work. Where I mean, I think every single day for the entire year of 2020, we were working on the album. Then the video, of course, everything takes so much work. We're always chasing time, you know. So, but it's fun work. We love doing what we're doing. So
I was gonna
um,
say the old adage of love what you do and you never work a day in your life, right?
I was just thinking that. Yes.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about it. You talked about the whole concept of the song, and that behind the scenes thing. But for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, just give us a little Cliff Notes version as to how it all came about, the song itself.
Yeah.
It
So
was
did
I
you?
found it fascinating.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Digital Paradise was probably one of the first ideas when we started writing the album. And it was first only about exploring the afterlife, or what would it be like to live forever. And then as the music kind of evolved and we started to have more electro rock, more industrial elements, um, it kind of inspired me to go into more of this direction where technology came into place and how technology would influence or maybe even lead us to this afterlife. So, for example, like what would happen if maybe we couldn't exist in this digital space and live forever and upload our minds into computers? But there's also a question whether your soul would be part of it, or are you just going to be a digital copy of yourself? So there's a lot of questions to talk about. And we are on this brink of all this technology and virtual world, and it's getting more and more real. And maybe what if we already do live in a virtual world? So just it's fun conversations, and a lot of it is inspired by what's happening in our world today, especially because we were writing this whole album when the pandemic hit. So there was a lot of these unknowns, and we talked about so many things and every single conspiracy theory and every single possible, outcome and just the future. So it's fun to kind of push the boundaries of reality.
I found it interesting too that during that time of COVID, where everything was sort of locked down, you mentioned how it was like an incredibly creative time for you guys.
Yeah, because I mean, we were set to tour all throughout that year. But as soon as we knew it was going to be canceled, we just kind of went right into the studio and we kind of dove in head first. And especially because, Mike Plotnikov, who produced our first Universe album, he brought Neil in, and Neil also gave a really interesting perspective because 3 Days Grace, they're such a different band. So it was really cool to have his kind of input. And also, like, he was super excited, Mike was excited, we were excited, so we just kept going and going and going, until everything was done. So yeah, and then obviously I mean, I always think in that direction anyway. Like I always think not apocalyptic ways, but just, I kind of I love sci-fi. I love kind of futuristic themes and exploring all these elements and the universe and asking big questions. So for me, it was kind of really cool time to explore that and have these conversations.
Yeah. Were you always like, a science fiction fan, or were you like really good in like science class in school and stuff like that? Because you talk a lot about, stuff like that. Is that something that you were always into?
Well, my dad is a scientist, so I
Oh, I did
that's
not know that. Okay. What a foolish question.
no, no, too cool because yeah, I kind of grew up. Well, he definitely introduced me to science, and then my
Okay.
mom is more of an artist in the family, so I guess I have both sides a little bit. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, but I was always interested in college. I actually took some astronomy classes. It always fascinated me, and of course, I love science fiction movies as well. And I love movies. Like my favorite movies are Interstellar. I love Inception. Like really big movies. Like The Fountain is one of my all-time favorite
Mm,
movies.
yeah.
So yeah, I love stuff that's kind of larger than life.
So if I forget now who's doing it, is it Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos? If they start sending people into space, are you going to sign up?
I think they're just kind of um, it's the race of the egos who can get there first.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It would be cool to. As people sometimes joke, we'll be the first band to play a show on Mars. I don't
Yeah, there you go. That'd be awesome.
know.
Um, the second single and video, which came out today, which is out now on YouTube and everything else, My Method, Your Madness. I really liked the song. That song, I want to talk about the music for a second. I guess the only way I could describe it is that song swings kind of with a groove.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
the
playing
drum
song.
pattern in it.
Yeah, it's probably well, we actually have that's a swing song, and we also have kind of another swing song. So yeah, because it's not very common to do in metal, but it's really heavy. It kind of we
Yeah.
went with it. So and it kind of fits the whole message of the song. How your choices can kind of trickle through different lifetimes and timelines and the ripple effect. So it all kind of works together.
Yeah. And of course, I'm a guitar solo guy, and I thought Dave's solo in that song was outstanding. Please let
Yeah,
him know that.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
really fun. And, we have a lot of fun with like instrumentals and keyboard and guitar and how there's actually a really cool song called Leaving Earth on the album. And I think that one has one of my favorite solos in it, just
mm,
because they play off of each other so cool and the melodies. I'm just excited to get all the music out to you guys.
yeah, it's and thank you for that, advanced listening party for myself that I had. It was yeah, good stuff,
Oh,
really
thank
good stuff.
you. Thank you.
Um, and then of course the video, you sort of open up at where Digital Paradise ended with you sitting in front of the television screen, with just the static on it, and then it goes off from there. But then you're sort of like in an urban setting up on a roof and stuff. Where was that shot?
Yeah, so that was in LA. So the video, kind of the concept behind it, it's more of a performance-based video, but we kind of convey that there's all these, multiple timelines happening at once.
Yeah,
So there's us, and like you see some of the snippets where in the TV screen, I'm actually watching us on the rooftop.
right.
So it's like how I'm the same person but exist in these dimensions all at the same time, or not at the same time, but um that you do kind of trickle through these dimensions. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, because there's that string theory, which is really interesting. Then you have the theory that every outcome has to happen. So it just kind of plays upon exploring that and how there may be more than one world that we're aware of. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The other thing I liked in that video was There were the flashes of you wearing that white dress, I guess you would call it, with that other piece that sort of comes by your neck.
Yeah.
I thought you looked phenomenal in that. That was great.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Yeah, it's always fun to kind of experiment with outfits, you know.
yeah. Now, does that say where your mom's arts background comes into place when you're doing videos and stuff,
Yeah, and
or
I mean,
her influence, I should say?
definitely. And I have a theater background, so I was always really into kind of performance and visual art. I think my mom's background more because I always watched her paint. So
Okay.
I love to paint, and I'm making a piece for every painting for every song on the album. And we're
Mhm.
kind of incorporating that into the bundles and just into the band. But yeah, like, you know, making videos is also like I always try to find like cool visuals and outfits, and
Yeah.
it's fun to kind of reaching out to designers. And because for example, like in Digital Paradise, that mirror outfit is from this girl who's in Bulgaria, and she makes these crazy, you know, um outfits. So you kind of get to know these people from around the world that do really cool art and make clothes. So I like
Yeah.
all that stuff. Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, it's excellent, you know. Now, with the way these two videos sort of blended together, do we have a part three coming out that's going to come off of the closing part of My Method Your Madness into another one, or are you at liberty to say?
Yeah, well, so the next single is The Unknown, which is the title track. And that
Mm,
video is actually the first one that we filmed. I don't know if you listened to that song yet, but it's kind of it's a bit of a different song because it's definitely more of a power ballad,
hmm
but it's that song holds the most meaning to me, and it kind of encapsulates the whole album. And it's yeah, we went to that video is kind of like we're in another world, you know.
hmm
And that shoot was on location. um and yeah, I mean, I'm excited for you guys to, you know, for everybody to see it. It doesn't really have a lot of tie-ins to this one just because it's a bit of a different scene, you
hmm
know. But it still has those sci-fi elements.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny. The Unknown was definitely my favorite track on the album. And the note I had here was particularly the opening part of it, just absolutely touched my soul. Um,
Thank you.
the way the song came about, the instrumentation, the lyrics, your delivery. There were a couple of lines in there. I jotted them down. Relive some moments, and then the line that really jumped out at me was "Silence of my mind." I was like, "Oh my God," you know.
Thank
um, it really, really struck me in a major way. I can't tell you
Yeah.
how deeply it
uh,
affected me.
That's a huge compliment to me because it's kind of like, to me, it feels like one of those songs that I would write just like once in a lifetime, just because of how it came together and just what it means
Mm.
and how it turned out. And I remember recording it, and you know, other people kind of tried to change some parts, and I was crying. I was like, no way, I'm changing anything.
It
So
it seems very personal, and by the time you get into the whole power section, though, it's kind of empowering as well.
yeah, and you know what's interesting is that, so the recording process, I recorded it with Mike Plotnikov first, and it was really like emotional, and everything was so personal. So the vocal performance was very kind of fragile in a way. And
Mm,
then I re-recorded it with Howard Benson, and he kind of pulled out more strength out of me, like more edge, you know.
hmm
So then we ended up kind of merging the two together. So like the verses, it's what I recorded first, and it's very fragile and personal. And then the choruses are very strong, but still
mm,
have that. So that, you know, everything, all the songs take so much work and so much, like everything has a lot of thought in it, and everything's there for a reason. So that's why, like, sometimes when people say like, oh, let's just make a song, it's like, to us, making a song is like building a huge building, you know. it,
yeah,
it's a lot of work.
yeah. You know, you're weaving a tapestry and everything. Was the Unknown a song you had for a while, or was this something that came about for this album, or how did this one come about?
For the album, it kind of, it's one of those songs that just came about in one day. I mean, obviously it evolved, but I think most of it I just kind of wrote in one evening, because once you get that idea and you really know that the song is really special to you, then it just kind of writes itself in a way.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's a fantastic song. It was my favorite one on the album, and like I said, it truly, those few opening verses just really touched me. And then by the end of the chorus, though, you're ready to go out and conquer the world. It's I thought it was awesome.
Thanks.
The other tune I wanted to talk about, because I don't want to give too much away without, the album comes out September 17th, so I don't want to give away a whole lot here, but the other track that I found really intriguing, and I always listen to, I think we've maybe have talked about this in the past. I call it my last track test. I want to see if the band is working as hard on the last song as they did on the first. And you got Bound to the Rhythm. And that's another track that's really, really complex. There's a lot of moving parts in that track. Can you give a little snapshot into that one?
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorites. It's not actually, I don't even remember the order where we recorded or made the songs, because we kind of like we make them and we go back and forth and work on them. But it was one of the last ones, and I would put it at the end just because it has that sound where it feels like a spaceship taking off,
Yeah.
at the end. So it just kind of felt right to put the last track. But yeah, that song is kind of, for me, it's about kind of being tied to this time. Like I'm always chasing time. You can't really break away from it. You're in this mechanism of the world. Um, and no matter what, you can't really break away from it. So you kind of just, might as well embrace it, you know.
Yeah.
But if you really listen into the lyrics, there's a lot of layers to it as well.
Mm.
Um, I haven't heard that song in a while, in like few months.
Now you talk about how the songs are recorded, at different times, and maybe you work on one for a while and then put it away and go to another one and then come back or whatever. How important was sequencing to you on this album? Did everyone have a say in this, or did you just slap them on there?
Yeah, once all the songs are ready, they kind of fall into their place. You really see what's best to fall. Like opening with Digital Paradise just was kind of a given, just because it's such a strong, this electro rock, fast track. And then Madness, My Message of Madness, which is
Yeah.
another strong one. And we were about to put Unknown as a third track, but then we got input that it's better to open with three kind of high powered tracks. So Tidal Wave is next. And then it's The Unknown, which kind of, slows things down, but really makes it epic. So things just, yeah, they kind of fall into place when everything's done.
Yeah. Very cool. I also liked what you talked about in the behind the scenes on the Digital Paradise video, with how Dave's guitar, it's the presence is definitely there in these songs. And again, I'm a solo guy and his solos are phenomenal, but it's not overpowering. And I think his guitars and your keys, and of course the bass and drums as well, they just all blend together so well. I think it's awesome. And I wanted to ask, there's that one room where you guys are working where all the different amps are on the walls. Now, as a guitar player, that must have been like kid in a candy store for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely cool for him. So that studio is Mike Plotnikov's and Howard Benson's studio. So we actually, for example, the other albums, Dave has a setup at home where he plays with, like, he has a Kemper, and then there's another amp that he uses. So he kind of really knows his tone already, and he knows what he wants it to sound like. But
Yeah.
then when we signed with Howard Benson, we had the opportunity to record all the guitars at the studio as well and just kind of go crazy. And Mike is, he's great at getting guitar sounds. So we layered that thing. Like, I think he has 6 guitar tracks.
Yeah.
So we used the Wizard, and then I forget the other amp we used. But yeah, he had a lot of fun. And then a lot of the solos he actually did at home. just
Mm,
because he really knows the sound he likes and
right.
knows how
Did
to
I
dance well
did
in.
I hear you correctly? When you guys did Digital Paradise, you had over 200 tracks that you sent to be mixed down?
Oh yeah, we have well, there's a lot. Well, first of all, there's so many backing vocals and
Yeah.
a lot of keyboard layers, six to I don't think 12 guitar tracks,
Wow.
then we
Yeah.
have all the programming, like because I like putting in all these like industrial sounds and
Yeah.
yeah, keyboard layers, drum tracks, ton of drum tracks. So we're just happy that Jacob really knows what we like to, he really understands our sound and he kind of really does his magic with it.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely like the industrial stuff. Are you a fan of bands like Nine Inch Nails and stuff like that?
Yeah, I like Nine Inch Nails. I like Ramstein. I was into like Marilyn Manson phase, but more what I like more also is just experimenting on the keyboard and kind of making sounds of my own, just
Hmm.
just to kind of add more dimension to the songs,
Yeah,
whether it's industrial or cinematic or just symphonic or whatever it may be, whatever the song needs. It's fun for me.
absolutely. Now tell us who else is in the band as well. We've talked about you and Dave quite a bit. Let's talk about the drummer and the bass player. Tell us who they are. And
We have an awesome drummer, Jamie. He's from Colombia, and yeah, Jamie joined the band recently, like a
right.
year ago. And we have David, who's a rhythm guitar player. David's been in the band for a while. David Ruiz, like he toured so many countries with us.
Yeah.
Then on bass, Ricky Bonazzo. He played bass, and Ricky plays with Butcher Babies.
Wow.
Uh, so yeah, because originally Dave usually does all the bass tracks, but we met Ricky and he's a great bass player, so we had him do it.
Very cool. Then there's your voice, and I was thinking this as I was listening to this album. I don't think I've ever heard anyone who sings like you do, and that's not a knock. It's amazing your voice. You hear people say your voice is like your instrument. Your voice is an instrument. It's like no sound I've ever heard come out of guy or a girl's mouth. Um, where did you get, who are your influences? How did you come up with this? It,
Thank,
it's awesome.
thank you. I really appreciate it. I never like it's really well, I never was a singer before. I just played piano and I kind of just started singing when we started the band. So my approach to singing was always to focus on the song and kind of I hear the melodies in my head and I kind of hear what I want to sound like and I just figure out how to do it until I'm
Mm,
able to do it. So I think that mentality kind of removed a lot of boundaries. So I don't really think that way because I think sometimes when you have like when you I'm not saying like training is definitely great and like I'm
yeah,
so grateful that I had a lot of classical training like in the piano,
mm,
but I think what also Van Halen said, you learn and then you forget it, so you have all these tools that you can
yeah,
go back to, but you really need that freedom to explore and explore a style and just kind of reach for you know push all the boundaries you can, so it's all about the song, so whatever the song needs the voice does.
yeah, yeah.
So that's always been my approach, but I always love Dio. I love Chris Cornell,
Mm,
um Robert Plant. I mean, you know so many great singers, Bruce Dickinson.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go from like the only word I'm trying to find words to describe it, from like breathy to breathy and I guess I'll use your word fragile, to strong and powerful, all in like within like a couple of lines. As I'm sitting here thinking, I think the only person I can think of that could even come close that I have heard that comes to mind immediately is like Brad Delp from Boston and More Than a Feeling, where he hits that one note that goes really high and it blends into the keys. You know,
Oh,
that's
thank you.
that's the only person I can think of that even comes close to doing what you can do. You know.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
I love Boston, by the way. Great
Yeah,
band.
yeah, definitely. So the album comes out September 17th. You can pre-order it now. You've got the 2 singles out. Um, and you can check out your website, edgeofparadiseband.com. What's next for the future? Have you been able to line up any type of live dates yet?
Yeah, so we were talking about this a lot, and we had kind of this tour planned for UK, but it's still kind of weird with the virus. So, and since we put so much into, the album and making the videos, we figured we're gonna focus on promoting the album. We're gonna release more videos and more content and announce the tour dates probably in September. So, but we're gonna start touring in the new year, just so we're able to route, we're able to do proper promotion, and then I hope we don't have to worry about the virus anymore,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
You and
yeah.
me both. But no, it is a fabulous album. Like I said, you've got 10 tracks on here that are just absolutely fabulous. Once again, the album is called The Unknown. The band is Edge of Paradise. The album will be coming out September 17th. We're talking to lead singer Margarita Monet. Um, and as you know, Margarita, I always end up with fun, silly questions. Are you ready for a few of these?
Of course, my favorite part.
All right. What is one basic item that you always have to carry with you when you go out on tour?
My phone.
Your phone. All right. Um, very good. How about a favorite city that you've gone to?
Recently Budapest, but it's kind of a tie. I mean, I love Japan, but Budapest made a really big impression on me. And also, yeah, it's so hard because like every part in Europe is so cool.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
Budapest is cool because it's so close to everything.
Yeah. Here's one that might be interesting. And we talk about the future and everything and going forward and everything. If you could be born in a past era, what era would you pick?
Huh. I
You know?
I would like to be like in the Leonardo da Vinci type of, era.
Okay. Way
Or
back when.
yeah, or I'd like to be mm, I always wanted to see the pyramids. So seeing them when they were built would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have you ever prank called someone?
Yes, definitely. That was in middle school. Yeah, that was a lot of prank calling back then. Because nobody had nobody could tell who's calling. You didn't have those caller IDs.
Right. This is back before caller ID. Exactly. You could get away with this stuff. Favorite season? Are you a spring, summer, winter, fall girl?
I'm winter, I'm Russian.
All right. Favorite cartoon character?
Oh, cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
Wait. There's some, I guess recently from Bad Batch, I would be uh Omega.
All right. If you could speak any language instantly, what language would you pick?
French.
French. Okay. Last music other than your own that you listen to.
I listen to a lot of Ramstein. I like also Nine Inch Nails, Chris Cornell. I'm just listing off my favorite bands.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you could, where was the one I had? Just had it right here. Darn. Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go. What television show would you pick to place an Edge of Paradise song in?
Hmm. I either would pick anything to do with Star Wars or Game of Thrones.
Okay. Very cool. If you could go back in time and have your mom cook one of your favorite home cooked meals from your childhood, what would you have her make?
Crepes.
All right. And I think I may have asked you this one, but I'm not. This is how I always end them anyway, so I'm going to use it. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actress would you pick to play you? And it's your life, your movie. You can pick anyone.
Oh, well, I always like Natalie Portman.
Mm,
Play
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. Very good. Margarita, has there been anything I haven't asked you, anything you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to mention during this interview? The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's really good to talk to you again because it's been so long. And then I also want to mention that we have really cool bundles for the albums because it's been 2 years since we released music. It's also our 10th year anniversary. So we have really special items. I'm making a painting for each song. We have book of lyrics with the paintings. We put a lot of thought into all the vinyl artwork and all the CD book. There's a 12-page booklet inside. We have Obviously we have the Edge of Paradise language that some people know that was created by Dresden Seven, and it's all tied into our artwork and our merchandise. So everybody who gets a bundle, they have a cipher so they can decipher all the hidden messages. But yeah, just a lot of cool stuff. I'm making these LED resin pyramids that you see in the music video. You'll see it in the unknown. So a lot of items you see in the music videos that are going to be included in the bundles. So yeah, we're just excited about that because we're really big on physical items as well. I think it's
Sure.
cool that people can hold it, and it's kind of not just
Yes.
exist in the digital world, even though it's all about digital world.
Yeah, holding the vinyl is much better than having it in the cloud, you know?
Mhm.
Where does one go to get all this stuff?
You can go on our website, edgeofparadiseband.com, or store page, edgeofparadisestore.com. And also, please pre-save our album on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to music. And we're a very social band, so say hello to us on social media. We love people and we love meeting people at the show, and we're kind of growing the world of Edge of Paradise, and it's a really cool community. So we love to hear from everybody.
That's right. You guys jump on Facebook, do those Facebook Live things every once in a while. It's very cool. Seen a
Yeah.
couple of them. It's nice. The interaction you have with people nowadays is just phenomenal, isn't it? The way you can just reach out and literally it's global with the click of a mouse, you know?
No, yes, exactly. And today I just spoke to someone from Australia, so
Wow.
yeah, we had an interview with Australia, and he's like, it's freezing over there, and I'm like, it's 100 degrees here. So
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Amazing how big and small the world is all at once. But looking very forward to getting the album out there. Once again, it's called The Unknown, coming out September 17th. And the band is called Edge of Paradise. Margarita, thank you very much for your time this evening, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
thank you so much for having me. We hope we'll see you at a show really soon.
Definitely, because the last time you played in my area, I couldn't make it. So if you get out here again, I am definitely going to make every effort to get there and meet you guys once and for all.
That'd be awesome. Can't wait.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.